Anushka, unmute.
You are.
Jai Hind, friends. It is an real honor for us to start the Kargil Vartalap series for 2022. And this time, we are starting our journey of 2022 Kargil series with Brigadier O.P. Yadav sir, who was the who was the then CEO of one Bihar regiment during the Kargil War. And as far as we can remember from our memory that we read in the newspapers at that time, or we heard the news at that time, one Bihar regiment was one of the units which faced the situation when actually no one had no idea about the depth of the situation and about the level of the intrusion. And so we are starting our journey with Brigadier Yadav sir, who will tell us about his journey as the commanding officer of one Bihar regiment. And we will request you, sir, to share the lives of the war heroes uh, who are unsung after the war, because it is almost now 23 years has gone. So for the coming generation, the Kargil war is also becoming like a story only. So we will request you, sir, to share few stories from the lives of our war heroes also.
Okay.
So we will now request Brigadier Yadav sir to start his speech with, rather his interaction with us.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed. Before you ask me any question related to the Kargil War, I wish to tell you that the background of the Kargil War is very important as to what led the Kargil War. You see, in February 1999, that time Vajpayee was the Prime Minister and Nawaz Sharif was the Prime Minister of Pakistan. So prior to that, this was in 1999, but in 1998, we had the nuclear explosion on 11th and 13th of May 1999, and followed by that in June 1998, Pakistan also had similarly exploded the nuclear blasts. So both countries had become the nuclear powers, and it was feared by the world community that any clash between two countries would be very disastrous. Therefore, as a mature country, Vajpayee Saab undertook a bus journey to Lahore on 19th of February, and he initiated, in fact, a peace talk. Let's not get into this conflict and resolve all the issues peacefully. That is how the Kargil War started. But Pervez Musharraf, who was the chief of the staff, army staff in Pakistan Army, he was having a different design. So the area which was lying vacant between Mashko Valley and Siachen, generally it was understanding between two countries that there is no point of occupying this area during winters when snowfall is very heavy. So they used to vacate and they used to occupy only after the passage used to open, so that the infiltration can be controlled on either side. But this time they took advantage of this opportunity, and Pakistan Army occupied all the dominating heights in Mashko Valley, Daraz, Kaksar and Batalik. The moment after Batalik, the area of Siachen starts. So this information came to our notice only on 3rd of May. There was a person called Tashi Namgyal from Garkhun village. So he had lost his yak. So he went out in search of the yak. And then when he went up onto the hilltop, he found some suspicious activity by 4-5 people who he thought that they are not Indians. So he reported the matter down below that this is what is happening on top. It appears that some Pakistanis are digging the bunkers. So there was a unit called 3 Punjab. They sent some patrolling party and they came under fire. And that is how we came to know that some intrusion has taken place in this area. So entire area was activated, and as much as 130 posts were occupied by Pakistan in all these 3 areas, that is to say Mashko, Daraz, Kaksar and Batalik. That time, One Bihar was operating in counter-insurgency area in the valley against the militants. So we were given the orders on 15th of May to quickly move to Kargil area because the situation there has become little serious. We were not told much. The information was that some militants have occupied the heights and we have to evict them. So therefore, we started from valley and we came to Sonamarg, then we crossed Jojila Pass, and finally when we came to the area of Daraz, the troops came under fire. We were in the convoy. We were having 54 vehicles. So we were told to retrieve, and then after 2 days, we were given the orders, okay, you have to move after the last light, that is at night with the headlights off, and report to battalion. On the way, I had met the General Officer Commanding General V.S. Budwar at Kargil, who told me that battalion area there are 13 intrusions of the enemy, and my unit was likely to be deployed in battalion sector. So very next day, that was on 21st morning, 21st May, early in the morning, I reached battalion. There I was called by my senior officer, Brigadier Devinder Singh, who briefed me that there are some militants who are sitting on top and you have to evict them. So I was picked up in a helicopter and slightly ahead from where one could see those features, I was left there. I had a radio operator and one person with me. Plus one guide was also provided. So from there I started climbing, and it took me about 4 hours to reach that base where our people were there. Some troops were already stationed in that area to launch the attack. So when I reached there, I found that Pakistanis were, on the dominating heights, which was at least more than 1,000 feet above us. They were in a position to very clearly see our activity. Therefore, all the movements have to be carried out at night. So that time, I was told to launch the attack with a company of 3 Punjab and a company of 111 Gorkha Rifles. This officer, Manoj Pandey, he was that time a lieutenant, who got Vir Chakras later. He was part of that party. So when I launched the attack on next day, that was on 22nd of May, they came under a very heavy volume of enemy fire. And both these officers told me that they are not in a position to proceed further. And there was certain casualty also, gunshot wound were suffered by these boys. So I ordered a tactical withdrawal. You come back to the same place where you launched. And then I told my senior boss, brigade commander, that let my unit come up, because I had straightway been picked up without briefing my unit. And then he agreed with me. On 23rd of May, 1st Bihar was inducted into that area. And I occupied Banjo, then a place called Pimple. These are the names that were given to the post, 0.4624, then Khobararo, Jutti. These were the posts that I occupied. This was a containment line. Above me was the enemy, and this was the containment line that I had occupied. Then on 28th of May, my first attack was launched on Jubbar. Jubbar is a very big feature. It had 4 distinct hill feature. One was called Jubbar Observation Post, which was right in front looking towards us. Then there was a Jubbar Top, which was 5050 meters, that you can say approximately 17,000 feet. And another feature was 4924. And then another feature was 4924 and 4268. These were the 5 prominent features which are part of the Jubbar Hill. So when I launched the attack, in this attack we succeeded to gain a foothold on Jubbar observation post. But unfortunately, the post above us was so dominant that they were continuing to fire on us. Therefore, it was not tenable to stay there. And we had to again fall back from there. Because initially we thought that the enemy is a very small strength, but the strength was full. He was fully fortified. He had all the weaponry with him. He was fully stocked. Then the second attack was launched on point 4268. That was little onto the right side. And there our people reached about, say, 500 yards short of the post of Pakistanis. And in the morning time, they found that a few Pakistanis are, sitting around the fire because it was very cold. And they saw this strength was quite a bit. It was about 20 people. So these guys were daylighted. So they saw, okay, if we fire at them at this point of time, this surprise may be lost and we may have to suffer casualties. So therefore, this JCO Subedar Sahab, who decided that Pitambar Tudu was the name of that Subedar, that I will only attack after last light. In the meantime, what had happened was that there was a telephone line which was passing through this location where these boys were sitting, our people. This was connecting this point 4268 with Jubbar main post, where probably the company commander was there. So they disconnected that line by cutting the wire. The Pakistan post, they thought that the line communication is not coming because of some problem. So a party of 2 people, 2 Jawans, with their rifle and the rucksack, they came towards this. And when they came closer, Sivdat was the boy who fired at them and killed one. The other chap ran down the Nala. After the search of his equipment, they found that there was an identity card. Ayub was the name of this Pakistani soldier who was from 5 Northern Light Infantry. So this established the fact that Pakistan Army is fully involved. We immediately sent those identity card and his rucksack and rifle to the divisional headquarters, and this information was out that Pakistanis are there. Then, the moment the surprise were out, there was fire from all the directions. Then next night, that was on night 28th, 29th May, I sent Major Sarvanan to lead the attack. So Major Sarvanan is the one who was the company commander of Charlie Company. He was known as Changiz. That was his nickname. So this officer left on 28th evening after last light. He married up with those people at 3 o'clock in the morning. It took so much of time because the terrain was rugged and it was pitch dark night. You could not make noise. You can't use your torches, and through the jungle and difficult terrain. So he finally reached and he launched the attack at 3:30 in the morning on point 4268. Then around 4 o'clock, he asked me, please provide me illumination so that I can see the objective. So he fired the RT shelling, and it is called star cell, where the area is lighted up. Then he fired rocket launcher and destroyed 3-4 bunkers. And then enemy fire was also quite heavy, and they found that one of the Jawan, his name was Nayak Ganesh Prasad. He was killed in this action. He killed 2 Pakistanis and he was ahead. He was the first one. He later got Vir Chakra. He's from Bihar, Patna district. Sarvanan gave this report, and by the time it was about 5:15 or so in the morning, that we have already captured 4 bunkers, and 1 or 2 bunkers on top are still firing at us. So I told him, now you take care of the casualties, and Major Sarvanan also suffered a bullet injury on his head. He told me, I said, no, you take care of yourself, and we have time, we can launch the attack next night. But he was so furious and agitated at that point. He says, sir, give me only half an hour. I will finish these Pakistanis and capture this bunker. I am pleading to you, please give me half an hour only. I said, no. Because daytime pay, when the enemy is able to see you, because daylight is, the sun was about to rise. So we will be at disadvantage. But since he did not agree, then one of the officers who was with me tried to convince him on the radio set. He says, sir, so then I gave him a go ahead. And then he launched full attack on point 4268. Just about 30 meters short of the objective, he got another volley of bullets. And Major Sarvanan, he sacrificed his life that day, early in the morning at about 6:30. So this was on 29th May, which is approaching after another 4 days, 4 or 5 days. That was the first officer casualty in Batalic sector. For his bravery, an officer who had only suffered a bullet injury and telling the commanding officer that, sir, give me half an hour, I'll finish them. I think this is the best example that I've seen in a war, because I've seen the war.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And let me tell you, Sarman was the only son of his father. He had 2 sisters. One is an engineer, other one is doctor. And his mother was, that time worshipping in the temple. His father got killed in Sri Lanka operation in 1986 in Pavan. He was a medical officer, and he was the second casualty from the same house. I had visited his house. He's from Trichy. There's
Yes,
a
sir.
statue of Sarvanan in Trichy. There's a road in his name. And you get down at
Library.
Krishnapalli, you ask, where is Sarvanan? So they'll take you to his village. He's so much respected.
Yes.
We could retrieve his body only after about 40 days.
Oh.
Because I tried to retrieve the body for next 3-4 days and lost another 4 boys. So I also told, because I had a pressure from top, you have to retrieve the body. Then finally I had to say, yes, I'm not here as a commanding officer to write condolences letters. When I know we are not able to, till we eliminate Jubar, which was connected to Jubar, which was about, say, 1,000 feet higher than that feature. So I said, we'll capture Jubar, then automatically this will fall, and we'll ensure that bodies are, and 13 Pakistani bodies were also lying right there. So thereafter, then another incident that happened there in the same place was, there was a boy, his name was Naik Shatrughan. He suffered a bullet injury into his leg, calf muscle. And, his leg got almost broken and it was dangling. So this boy said, I will not be able to come back. So he crossed his hands like this, that you people can go to, since we had to make a tactical withdrawal to keep the body under observation and fire. Next about 5-6 days, I kept on firing on this post 4268. At least 100 tons of ammunition must have been fired on this post. When he did not come back after 4 or 5 days, then I declared him missing, presumed dead. And signals were sent all over to his house, everywhere. Because he had nothing to eat, he had nothing to drink. So there is no question of his survival. This Jawan, that is Naik Shatrughan, after 10 days, I recollect it was 8th of June. So it was, yes, 8th of June.
4th June. Yes.
Absolutely right. That was a Tuesday, I recollect that. And boys were very happy. This person appears down below in the Nala. And from the post, somebody observed his movement and he said, there is one Pakistani soldier who is floating around down below. So a party went. I said, you catch him alive so that we know what is happening on the other side. We'll be able to know the location. So one patrol party stealthily went and surrounded that area. And when they went closer and challenged him, "Ki hands up." So this person puts his hands up with the rifle on, and somebody identified him that he is Shatrughan. But this boy was not in a position to speak. So he was evacuated from there in a stretcher, brought to duty. When the doctor saw him, he had developed gangrene in his shin bone. And when they put the medicine, the maggots were, all over. He was in a bad state. Then they made him, gave him some water, some glucose. He was in a position to speak to me from the stretcher. I told him, "Okay, don't worry, you've done a good job." And this boy brought another eye, because en route, when he was moving slowly on his buttocks, he was moved all the way from the hilltop to the Nala, which is a distance of about not less than 5 kilometers. So he killed that Pakistani en route, got his rifle also, got his identity card as well. So this chap was also recommended by me for Vir Chakra and got one. He now retired as a Subdar Major from Varanasi, from NCC, and is an honorary captain. You can always contact him if you have not spoken to him. I'll give his address also. So this was another chap. Then he was evacuated to the command hospital. I requested the doctors, please make sure that his leg is not amputated. So they ensured. There is a bit of difference between the two legs, but he's absolutely safe and sound. He's doing well. This was the second thing, an important incident. It was a miracle for the regiment. And that day, in fact, the morale was very high. People could understand that Jakura ke Saiya Mar Sakina Koi. And I cancelled all those signals, though his family was very happy. They met him in command hospital, Chandi Mandir, evidently. Then,
Amazing
there was
story,
yeah. Then there was a stalemate in the entire battle, because now we got to know that enemy is in a big strength on the other side, and we were lacking actually fire support, because whenever infantry fights, before fighting, that objective which is supposed to be captured is bombarded by the artillery, air, and other resources, so that he is totally destroyed, and the infantry only walks in and captures that area. But initially we took chance. That is why the casualties were more, because we thought it must be a strength of 2-3 people, 4-5 people. But he was fully fortified and well organized in the subunits. That is why the casualties. Then we decided, okay, let's get the artillery resources, and the whole the major part of the month of June went like this. When we mustered the artillery, then the 15 fire units, including rocket launchers, they directly fired at Jubar on 6th of June. The firing started in the morning. One of the round of the mortar fell into their ammunition dump, and it caught fire. And it created a lot of panic in Pakistanis. There, it started burning, and they started running helter and skelter. That is the time that we launched the attack on Jubar on 6th, and same day we captured it. And thereafter, it was only a chase of the enemy. He was running, and we killed total 34 Pakistanis. They refused to accept the bodies, so we had to bury them there. Their burials are there. We had marked those grounds. And in all, we suffered a total of 10 casualties. That was one officer, Sarnan, and there were 9 other ranks, which included Shiv Shankar Prasad Gupta, then this chap who got Vir Chakra,
Sipai
Ganesh
Pramod
Prasad
Kumar,
Singh,
yes.
Pramod Kumar, Ganesh Prasad,
H. Prasad,
Arun Kumar. So
yes.
there were a total of 9. I'll give their names to you.
Yes.
I don't recollect them offhand.
Yes.
So this is how finally on 9th of July, we had cleared this entire area. This was totally about 10 square kilometers of area that we cleared it from and enemy was pushed back. Then 14th of July, Indian government declared that the operation was successful and we have been able to evict the enemy. And finally, officially, it was declared as a Vijay Divas Day on 26th of July. And every year we celebrate that Vijay Divas Day. The war was over. So this is the story in nutshell. And these boys who took part, they are actually certainly a legend, because if you go to that area, Climbing itself is difficult. The minimum height I told you was not less than 14,000 feet to as much at 5465. That is 18,000 plus. That is the area that we were fighting. The highest post was 5465, and the lowest was 4268, which was meters I'm talking about, which is around 14,000 feet. So this requires third stage acclimatization, and every Jawan who fought the battle there deserved a medal actually. I don't know whether you have
Absolutely.
seen that area or no. Batalic was slightly much in depth.
Yes.
Even media coverage was more for Daraz because Daraz was bang on the road where media could
Yes.
reach. But
Yes.
here they could not reach, but the degree of difficulty was far more in Batalic. This was even later on, it was seen by GOC General Mahendra Puri, who was commanding 8th Division
Yes,
in
sir.
Daraz. He also told me this area is far more difficult. I do not know how you evicted the enemy from here. So this is the story. Now you can ask me any question if you have in specific.
Absolutely, sir. So actually, yes, Anusha, carry on.
Sir, I have just one question. That as I said at the beginning of the discussion, that it is 23 years we have moved on from Kargil. So now standing at 2022, how will you describe the war? I mean, was it a surprise for Indian Army, or was it a lesson for Indian Army to, to plan in the future for the
Okay, I'll tell you. It was both a surprise also, and of course we learned lot of lessons. Surprise was because we were not able to ascertain this. We could not discern the enemy's strength. We could not discern when did he come in, when did he prepare the defenses. After all, it took 3-4 months' time. Maybe that it was a mutual confidence between the two countries and an understanding. Certainly, it was intelligence failure. But lesson learned is so much that now we have developed that area very well. I visited thereafter. I visited Kargil in 2019. I gone right up to that area where we fought the battle. And now infrastructure is so good that second Kargil cannot be repeated. No question. It is so strong, far stronger. We got all the possible resources and the enemy cannot even infiltrate into that area. Even militants are not coming from that side at all. It is so well guarded. And now we have also learned another lesson that Pakistan cannot be trusted. The areas cannot be left unguarded. We have to cover those areas, of course, at the cost of our national resources. Because weather casualties were hell of a lot. Even now, we have weather casualties because there are avalanches, people who died because of the extreme cold climate, they developed the HAPO, etc. So that is all. Otherwise, I think now the life is being made comfortable. They got good quality of huts. They got good quality of food. The roads are good. So definitely things are improving. And overall, the morale of the troops is very high now. I don't think it can ever be repeated again.
Sir, we had also visited Kargil in 2019 July, and at that time the weather was decent. We had realized that despite being in a decent weather, without we ourselves like properly fed, without any loads, we cannot actually climb few steps also. But during the war in the month of May, amid so much of cold weather, without food, with so much of luggage at their back, wounded, tired, still they never gave up. For example, what you said about Major Sarvanan, then Naik Shatrughan sir. So, and you was the commanding officer. So you had to motivate these soldiers. So can you please tell us means how you had motivated them? What made them achieve this impossible task?
Okay. You see, for an infantry battalion, it is a matter of great pride that they get an opportunity to fight a battle. Because your history is written like that. So unit gets battle honors the 1st Bihar also got battle honor for this particular battle. We were given the battle honor of Battalion and theatre honor for Kargil. And you get a lot of awards. So the unit got 4 Vir Chakras, 1 Yuddha Seva medal, about 7 Sena medals, and about 8-9 mention in dispatches, and a lot of commendation. Total about 30 odd gallantry awards were given. Plus the Chief of the Army Staff being very happy, he also gave a unit citation. So the units gets a big name. So after independence, 1st Bihar got the battle honor for the first time. Prior to independence, we had 2 battle honors. That was while we fought under the flag of the Britishers in Burma. Those battle honors were Haka and Gangao. So this is one factor that keeps them motivated that we are the best unit in the Indian Army and we should do well. One. Secondly, as a commanding officer, this was my duty to keep them motivated. Therefore, whenever they used to go for attack, I used to brief each and every Jawan, make them stand there, give a pat on their back. I used to ask them, is there any problem? Also, I used to tell them in front of them by making them stand, and I used to stand, it is the God-given opportunity that we are fighting the war. You see the history, how many people have fought the war. Only 3 things can happen in the war. One is either we get killed in the war. I think that's a big privilege of a soldier. Anybody who has donned the uniform, and the whole world will remember you. You will be respected. After all, everybody has to die. This is one of the best death that one can attain. Second, that you may get injured. So if you get injured, you evacuated to the hospital from your side. The battle is over. You don't have to worry. And third is you'll stay alive after fighting the war. That you will become a legend. People will ask you stories like, say, today you were asking me, how did you fight the war? So I said, 4 things cannot happen. Therefore, give your best, and I can tell you only those people who will die whose death has been written by the God on a particular day. And I said, I will today in front of you, I am in fact praying God that if the first shell fall, let it fall on me. If the first bullet of the enemy fire, let it hit me. I'm not bothered at all, and I don't care. So you should also not worry. I'm behind you, and please go ahead and fight the battle well, and just keep the flag flying high, keep your unit name high, keep your parents' name high, and do well for the country. This used to be my normal lecture whenever these people went on war.
Amazing, sir. Even we are also feeling motivated.
Thank you
The
so much.
3 points you said, it's really motivating, sir.
Any other question?
Sir, actually, when the Kargil War was fought, we were at our last phase of teenage. We were at class 11 at that time.
Right.
And we can still remember that the first names actually we heard, and they became like our, hero of our era. That was Major Sarvana and Captain Hanifuddin from 11 Rajreef. Those actually were facing the situations without knowing anything, and then gradually it geared up, and and still now we can say, sir, we got motivated from these youngsters at that time. From that point of time, still they are our heroes. So I will just wish to have a message from you, sir, for the young generation, from the coming generations of our nations, to get motivated and, I mean, to focus on their work, keeping the motherland in their mind.
My message to the younger generation is that whenever they think, they should think of the nation first. Once you start thinking of the nation first, anything else comes later. Like when we pass out from the academy, you would have seen in the Chetwood Hall a very nice saying which everybody remembers, that your country's safety and security comes first, always and every time. The safety of your command comes next, always and every time. And your own safety and comfort comes last, always and every time. These are 3 things. Your nation is always first. The people whom you are commanding, that is number 2, and your own safety comes third. That is the motto on which the army works. And I think true to that, we did that. And prior to moving to this operation, fortunately, we were in Cooch Bihar. We were located in Cooch Bihar. And that time, the district magistrate used to be Rajiv Sinha, who retired as Chief Secretary of West Bengal now about, say, a year or 2 years back. In fact, Major Sarman was a captain, and he had just about 3 years of service. So when we got into the train, which was taking us to Jammu and Kashmir, we promoted on one side. I had put star on his left shoulder, and Rajiv Sinha had put on the right shoulder on the railway station itself. So he recollects, I got a DO letter from him also. All those people, the SP, my colleagues who were there that time, they used to write to me, yeah, we remember Sarman very often, because we used to have get-togethers and parties in the evening. So they knew the unit very well. So I'm glad that we moved from Bengal and then we went to Jammu and Kashmir, and then finally we fought the battle and came out with very flying colors. So this is what I would like to tell the youngsters. They should, because they are the future of the country. They cannot think below the nation. Nation is always first. And if they do that, I'm sure they will never look back. Any other question?
Adrija, is there any question from Facebook or from our
No,
team?
sir. Actually, before the session began, we had a request about the story of Nayak Shatrughan sir. So our audience is very happy on listening to about the story from you in so detail.
Okay, thank you so much.
So it is really an honor for Desh to have you, sir, today. And this time it is an opportunity for us to start our uh, journey of Kargil series with paying our tributes to all the martyrs from One Bihar
One Bihar.
Regiment. One Bihar Regiment,
Ji.
and we all wish a great peaceful life for Brigadier Yadav sir and all his men in the future who came back from the war and who are there to share their experience with us and to make us enriched. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank you
much. It
for
was a
your
privilege
service to
talking
the
to you.
nation,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you for your service to the nation. Jai Hind, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, sir.